Life is full of irony and contradiction. 80% of American workers earn only half of all income paid, even though they do most of the critical hard work necessary to provide absolutely necessary goods and services. The rich are riding on their back, earning their income from interest, dividends, fees, and profit. Yet most Americans defend the current economic system, which they insist is the basis of freedom and democracy, even though they have little or no control over the economy, and even though the rich use their wealth to avoid real work, as well as control the machinery of representative democracy. Hi, my name is Michael A. Smith. I'm the author of Naked America, a book that advocates, among other things, elimination of the monetary system and implementation of a direct democracy as the two primary means of solving America's many social, economic, and political problems. The wealth exchange system will replace the monetary system with an equal value credit card given to every worker who works a truly necessary and valuable social job. Workers and dependent family members would use the WES credit card in the domestic marketplace to claim an equal share of all necessary goods and services as compensation for their labor to produce these goods and services. Money is not required for individuals to perform physical or mental labor. Instead of putting our faith in what has become make-believe money, we would put our faith in an equal value credit card to serve as a marketplace medium of exchange. Swiping the card through computerized readers at the point of purchase will provide ample data to allow efficient planning for production of goods and services, as well as set reasonable individual consumption standards. The impact of an equal value credit card granted to all workers would be immediate, revolutionary, and universally beneficial. An economy based on the production of necessary, high-quality goods and services to fulfill individual and family need would eliminate in one fell swoop greed, inflation, profit, income inequality, crime, and the economic class society. In the new economy I describe in Naked America, there would be no justification for the exorbitant salaries now earned by those who perform functions that would no longer be needed, including bankers, insurers, developers, realtors, the whole financial services crowd, advertisers, many salespersons, politicians, bureaucrats, lobbyists, many managers, entertainers, and athletes. They would no longer have greater value than teachers, nurses, soldiers, farmers, police officers, construction and maintenance workers, garbage collectors, and those who purify our drinking water. People who do real, necessary work, usually for a salary far, far less than those who derive their income from profit, dividends, interest, and fees. Abolition of the monetary system would make unemployment meaningless. Work would take place as necessary to fulfill need. When need is met, production in that sector may be reduced or temporarily halted. Workers can then pursue personal or family interests or educate themselves about public policy issues. Equally important, labor could be targeted to achieve goals we now can't fully afford, including provision of universal health care, generating new energy sources, improving education, maintaining a pristine environment, conducting expanded scientific research, and exploring space. Workers would choose their employment based on aptitude and personal interest, not salary. The reward of work would be an equal share of collectively produced wealth and a sense of satisfaction from having done a necessary job to the best of one's ability. Management positions would be a merit reward for extraordinary competence. Within the wealth exchange system described in Naked America, the only way an individual can distinguish himself or herself is to do excellent work. In fact, the goal under the wealth exchange system would be to provide for our basic needs and to advance our true purpose in life which is to discover our role and purpose in the universe. The wealth exchange system will mean an end to private ownership of the essential means of production, but we're obviously headed down that path anyway. Existing public monopolies in the United States include the public education system, the military, the space program, the state and federal highway system, government insurance programs, many public utilities, public lands, police and fire protection, environmental protection, many aspects of scientific research, and agencies concerned with consumer protection, public health, and control of communicable diseases. The nation is trending towards a national health care system because consumers don't trust private insurers. We taxpayers just bought a big share of Wall Street and the Detroit automakers. In Naked America, I describe at length the many abuses of corporate America that have fueled this trend toward socialism. Ironically, the private sector also tends towards monopoly. Of the 6 million private business firms in the U.S., about 8,000 employ half of the 145 million American workers. Fewer than a dozen giant firms control production and distribution of our entire food supply. The only issue here is who controls these monopolies, public and private. Is it private interests or is it the people? How free and brave are Americans now anyway, under the current economic system? The vast majority of Americans have little to say about economic development, meaning what kinds of businesses are built, where they are built, and what kind of jobs they offer. Most individuals take whatever work they can get. They buy whatever they can afford, which determines the neighborhood and house they live in, whether their children go to school, even whether their children have adequate health care. In truth, 90% of Americans are at the mercy of the economy. They have little or no control over it. As indicated by many surveys presented in Naked America, most people don't even understand how the economy works. Voters elect politicians to guard their interests and rights, but once these politicians get into office, they tend to do the bidding of the rich and powerful. Americans do have reasonable access to alcohol, drugs, sex, sporting, and recreational events, which are the modern-day equivalent of the Roman Empire's policy of bread and circuses, to give the masses something to occupy their attention so they don't meddle in the important affairs of the upper class. In fact, the people can make any change they want, which is amply demonstrated by the First American Revolution. After all, we collectively are the government. I'll talk about that during my next presentation. Meanwhile, I encourage you to read more about the wealth exchange system in my book, Naked America. Thanks for listening.